Good evening everyone, welcome back to Tom Plays Factorio for absolute beginners. So last time we got a regular electricity supply going. This time I'm hoping to automate the smelters and also get some research going, which is going to be interesting. In theory we can blow these cliffs down, but I don't really like to. I do feel like we're a bit hemmed in this time. Still, let's see how we do. Okay, I might actually start with the research. So we need more copper, especially. Okay, questioning that now. Kind of feeling like we definitely need more smelters than we've got, if nothing else. Let's get you going. Are we in a position to make stone furnaces? We are. So I could make a couple of extra ones here. So how would this actually work? We need conveyor belts. We need some coal. And I don't want to have things too hemmed in again. Seriously, you can never have enough space in this game. Yeah, let's at least start getting things made a bit faster. Okay, so in terms of research, we are going to have... We're going to want a lot of room around it. But research is really important in this game. Basically, we start off with these recipes, but we're not going to get far with them. We need to get some new recipes, and to do that, we need to do research, which requires the lab. So in some ways, the whole game is going to revolve around researching stuff. Yeah, let's not go too insane over space. Let's put a lab down. And, oh yeah, we're gonna need electricity, of course. So... just making sure that wouldn't be in the way of conveyor belts. Just hoping I haven't overdone it here, but I don't think I have. Right. So in order to actually do research, we need these vials. So you can see how far we've got to go. Although the last one only happens after the end of the game, technically. But yeah, to start with, we've just got these red vials. So we can make these by hand. And just put them in. However, to do research we need to press T. we have to decide what we're actually going to research. So you can see everything we can research in the game. The items in red we're not currently in a position to do. So automation is a big one, as is logistics. Automation only requires 10 vials, so it's a good place to start. It's going to give us an assembling machine and a long-handed inserter. You can see that the researcher is operating, which is good. So what I might try and do is make an iron chest and get an inserter to automatically put the vials in from the iron chest, because otherwise I'm going to be stuck doing them by hand. Although actually it's not too bad, because I didn't realise I could put 7 in at once. So that's actually fine. But still, we're going to want to automate it. So no harm in having a chest here and putting the vials in there instead. Good preparation. So you can see the automation filling up there. And these have stopped, which is never good. Right, so that's theoretically meant to be copper. The iron plates and the copper plates. I might grab you all together. Oh yeah, we get a little musical thing when one of those finishes. Let me put you down as well. How much space do I need? I definitely need a gap, because at some point we're going to replace these with slightly larger ones, which is part of the problem. That every time you make an advancement, things get a bit bigger. Okay, so automation is finished. So pick a new thing. I think logistics is the next one that we want to cover, if we can. However, automation has given us a couple of new recipes. One of them is a long-handed inserter, which is going to come in very useful later on. And the other is the assembling machine, which is absolutely essential. So this basically is going to allow us to make recipes without having to do it ourselves, which is fantastic. There are some items which cannot be made without one of these. So you put it down, obviously needs electricity as always, as just about everything does, and you set the recipe basically. So in this case I wanted to create these red vials, so it's going to need an iron gear wheel and a copper plate. So here's part of the problem. When we make things by hand, we don't need to worry about the components. When we use an assembling machine, we do. So we're going to need another assembling machine for iron gear wheels. There's kind of two ways we could do this. We could do a sort of general iron gear wheel machine. Or we could have a machine that literally just exists to create iron gear wheels just for this. I'm thinking I might move it out a bit actually. Okay, right. Well, I want to get the logistics going anyway, so I'm going to not worry too much about the automation right now and just make a whole bunch of vials. And let's just keep these going. And I'm going to work on automating these, which was the original plan after all. So, two things we need to do with these. The obvious one. Oh, so this red one, no mineable resources, so this needs moving along. Which is actually quite good timing, because it means that I can... Nope, hang on. Need to be one further out, just to make sure we get everything. Which means I can move this one straight onto conveyor belts. So I'm going to need the iron to come down next to these. Yeah, we're going to need a lot of conveyor belts, as you'd pretty much expect. Okay, I'm going to try and move these around the front. Just for the future. Let's grab more iron. But yeah, doing it by hand, it's very difficult to keep these going all the time. So it's pretty important that we sort this out. Okay, so conveyor belts. You see also when we're producing things en masse like this, it is taking quite a while to produce them, which is another reason to switch to these automated items, because of course we can only produce one item at a time by hand, which is going to hold us up immensely. I'm kind of wishing I hadn't done so many of the red vials now. Not to worry, we're nearly there. Just urgently need more conveyor belts. So again, I'm trying to provide space by moving up, moving along. One thing it's probably worth noting, which we're not going to fix right now, is that the conveyor belts have two sides to them. So we're getting stuck here because everything's on a single side. You can manipulate things to make it use both sides of the conveyor belts, or you can also put a different material on each side, which allows one conveyor belt to carry two different things. So we'll probably be using both of those options. Set this up. Of course, it's not going to work yet because we have no power to the inserters. There we go. So they're not working yet because they'll only work when this pretty much runs out, but they should keep them fully supplied with iron ore now, which is a good start. But we are also going to need coal. So I'm going to have to work on that too. It'd be kind of useful to have somewhere to take the iron plate as well. Oh, haven't actually set this. I want you to make gear wheels. So you need iron plate in order to do that. So yeah, might do that. Before I worry about the coal. So we only need one stream coming in there, really. Just a straight iron plates stream. So this is one of the ways you can use both sides of a conveyor belt. We have two conveyor belts coming from opposite directions onto one, and this will automatically use both sides. Well, it'll just naturally do it. So if I make one of these. Right, I cannot hit everything. I'd actually like to move you so that you're not there. That's fine. No, hang on, it isn't fine. You need to go more in the middle. There, because I'm probably going to bring the coal down on the outside and we'll use one of the long arms to do it. Okay. Alright, so you need copper and gear wheels. Well, definitely got some gear wheels here. What we don't have is copper. So let me just make a conveyor belt for that, but I'm going to want one for copper. Right, so we just finished the logistics research. So what does this give us? Right, so this is important. It gives us underground belts, which are rather like the underground pipes we had, which will be great as we start to struggle to move everything around. And we've got a splitter, which is going to be absolutely invaluable. So we do want to set off some additional research. Few options here. I might... Ooh, let's get the gun turret. Okay, so basic defensive buildings. So yeah, going to start on the defense. But at this point, I need copper. Right, so splitters are going to be really important. I'm not going to worry about them for this one, but I am going to worry about them very soon. But for now, let me just try to get the copper over here. Okay, so we've got a partial automation going now. The problem we're going to have is... well, we just need to fill in the edges, basically. Yeah, see, the other problem I'm going to have is that I've got no way to manually get iron plates anymore. So... this is probably going to be a good starting point for a splitter. Because I do need a... can we make a splitter? We can. I do need somewhere to collect me some iron plates. Okay, so the splitter is effectively an extension of a conveyor belt. And what it does... is, well, it's kind of has it in the name. Splits the stream of iron into 2. So if I just take that and put it in an iron chest. Hang on. This is all a bit haphazard and definitely needs a redesign. So in theory, because this is all chock-a-block at the moment, we could have just put a little arm down there. The problem is I want to make sure that nothing gets starved, so I may try to make a whole bunch of splitters just to try and make it all 50-50 for a whole bunch of conveyor belts, because otherwise you can find things getting starved. And one thing I've sometimes done is I've sort of relied on how slowly things go in order for some iron to go past. It's quite hard to demonstrate that without setting it all up. It doesn't tend to work because we tend to speed things up as time goes on and improve things. So I do think it's worth trying to do a lot of splitters at the source of the iron and the copper effectively. Nope. Out of copper. Let's bring you down. So yeah, we're probably going to replace some of this infrastructure with a huge pile of splitters and have a whole bunch of conveyor belts coming off, even if they're not even doing anything to start with. We're just going to want them to be there so that as things get more complicated, we can move conveyor belts fairly. Not conveyor belts, we can allocate iron and copper fairly. Okay, so that's connected up, so in theory that should now be automated, which is good. So the only thing not being automated now is the coal supplies and the copper. So again, I probably want to run this down obliquely from the top, just to give room for additional stone furnaces. We can run them in a line. So same is going to go for this. I'm going to want this where the chest is. I can just take the chest, replace it with a conveyor. I am probably now absolutely swamped with copper ore, and I really need to make some inserters. So I'm going to pick up the copper directly, and we're going to need a splitter so that I can get some. Okay, that's surprising. I thought I'd have what I needed to make inserters now. Oh, it's the iron I'm missing. Right, okay, well before I worry about anything else, let's do the next bit of research. I'm going to go carry on with the military. This will allow me to make a decent gun. 2 decent guns, in fact. We see we're getting recipes quite quickly now. So we've now got a gun turret recipe, which will allow us to set up some basic defences for when the enemy decides to start investigating the pollution and attacking us. Right, give me some inserters. While I'm thinking about it, I'm going to make a few of the long-handed ones as well, because we will need them. Okay. Yeah, so that bit's all working. It's this bit that isn't. So apart from the coal, these smelters are now automated, which is great. Let me just give you a bit of coal. You can carry on making coal. Right, Right, so let's just replenish the coal in the smelters. And then gonna need a whole load of splitters, because we need these splitters in order to split the coal stream, so we can have it coming down to these smelters. I think with the coal we probably will get away with actually not having loads of splitters, because it does tend to get used very slowly, so we could possibly get away with just one. You see how it's kind of completely stalled. So if I just put a splitter in here, okay, I think we're out of iron again. The research is going faster than I can keep up with. Which is a good thing, but still. Right, so we've got some new recipes. We can make ourselves a decent gun. I don't usually bother with a shotgun. I tend to go straight for the submachine gun. And I'm very keen on the gun turrets, because ideally I don't want to fight myself at all. Right, let's grab some iron. Having a job here making enough iron, actually. Might want to make a second mining drill, because I feel like we're not producing enough iron quickly enough. See, the copper we're fine with at the moment. We're producing plenty. But the iron, not so much. And this is how we end up running out of electricity. Because a lot of it's going to work like this. You work out where the bottlenecks are in the automated systems, and you fix them, and then there's another bottleneck. Right, let's do the logistics science pack. The thing that worries me is that some of these are harder to make than others. So the red vials are very easy to make. The green vials, less so. So we may have situations where we want to try to stockpile the green vials, and we can be doing red vial research while we do that. Probably doesn't make a huge difference, but I'm not necessarily sure I want to do all the red vial research at the beginning before getting the green vials operational. However, with all the other stuff we need to do, it's a little questionable how quickly we can get the green vial research set up. But we'll see. We should be getting twice as much iron now, at least. Which is good. So in a perfect world, well, ultimately, not in a perfect world, we're definitely going to do this. Ooh, right. It's probably easier just to go around that. We will be automating everything. So we won't be constantly making these transport belts by hand. We will get them set up to be made. And ditto for things like the gear wheels. In fact, I might even start taking gear wheels, because you see they're a bit bottlenecked. This assembler can't make vials that quickly. Not as quickly as this one can make gear wheels. So we may as well collect gear wheels, because some of the things we're making, I think the transport belts use gear wheels, and we'll be able to make them much faster if we're not having to make the gear wheels by hand when we make the transport belts. So the way I've done this one, this is almost like a splitter. If this wasn't bottlenecked, it would alternate between putting a gear wheel through this inserter and putting a gear wheel through that inserter. So it effectively acts as a splitter in itself. Okay. So you see we can make these a bit faster until we run out of gear wheels. So it is actually worth having them. Let's work this out. Ooh. The tree trunk. That's good. Okay, so this is where our underground transport belt's going to come in. Going to find this quite a lot with these. So they work just like the underground pipes, the pipe to ground. I suppose I may as well put it as underground for as long as I can. But we're going to need far more of them because we have conveyor belts everywhere and they are going to need to cross each other. So the plan is I'm bringing the coal down next to the iron. And you might notice now that we have a new bottleneck. We've now got enough mining drills that we're stocking up on iron ore, but we don't have enough stone furnaces to process it all. So we now need another stone furnace. So I think I was leaving a gap of a couple. It's probably not the right size gap really. But this really doesn't have to be perfect. Ah, no coal of course. Just load you up with some. Of course, as the number of stone furnaces increases, the need to automate the coal becomes greater. So this is where these come in. This is the long-handed inserter. We do have a little bit of leeway with the inserters when it comes to the stone furnaces because they take up 4 squares. So as long as the coal or the iron ore is being put anywhere onto one of those 4 squares, it still counts. Otherwise you'd need to watch for long-handed inserters because they skip a square in both cases. But in this case, putting it into the back of the stone furnace is absolutely fine. And in theory, that should be the stone furnaces fully automated. If I can just bring this down to the copper one as well. So I'm going to want exactly the same setup. I'm going to need another underground belt. They're a little trickier, but you can just about make out where they're going by the little bit of conveyor belt you can see which direction they're facing, because otherwise you could easily put these underground belts the wrong way around. Okay, and the logistic science pack is finished. So you see, that requires something much more sophisticated. We just needed copper plates and iron gear wheels for the red ones. The green ones we're going to have to make transport belts and inserters. So that's something we're going to have to automate. There we go. So I think that's all automated now. So yeah, that's pretty good. Probably stop around there. So we've automated the smelting now. We're automatically bringing the coal and the relevant ore to the smelters. We've tried to set it up so that we can basically increase the number of smelters we have. Tried to make it scalable, basically. There's room for more smelters, especially in the copper, but also in the iron. And we're going to use splitters to try to make a whole bunch of these conveyor belts, because iron plate and copper plate we are going to need for everything. So the more splitters we can make, the better. I'm a little concerned about the lack of space here. I'm going to have to think about that. And on top of that, we've also got our initial research going. So we're making red vials and they're going into the research. We also are going to need to start making green vials next time. But possibly more urgently, we're going to have to work on our military. Because we're definitely getting to the point where we're going to start getting attacked. So we need a better gun, need the machine gun. And I want to start putting automated turrets around. Because we can't be everywhere at once. So anything that the natives might attack, which is most of the stuff we've got, but especially anything producing pollution, which is, you know, the mines, the boiler, the smelters, and especially the assembling machines. We're going to want some automated gun turrets near them. So yeah, going to have quite a lot to do. So you see, things have got a bit more frantic this time. I don't feel like I was very organised in how I went about it, but the end result was what I wanted. We automated the smelting and we started doing research. So yeah, next time up the research to include the green logistics vials and get some automated defence. Then just up our military power so that we are ready for when the natives start attacking. So yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll deal with all that next time.